15 years ago, I started doing these challenges, an annual challenge every year around my birthday. I wouldn't tell anybody, it was just my thing for me. And I didn't want anybody to say, ooh, you're great, you did this and that. It was just something for me. And I would pick something that scared me, that put me outside my comfort zone, and that really pushed me. And I started it, quite frankly, because I wanted to prove to myself that age was just a number. I've never been one to sit there and say, oh, you're XYZ age, therefore this is no longer an option for you, and this is all you can do in life. Fast forward that 15 years. I've climbed Kilimanjaro, I've run marathons, I've done crazy things with business, and I've shattered everything that I set out to do. But what can I do that would be so outrageous, terrifying, over the top, and it also was something that I had been wanting to do since I was 13. I wasn't necessarily interested in mountain climbing, but I wanted to get up into the Himalayas there's a spiritual aspect, and something was telling me I would be there someday. And I said, well, now or never, why not now? So I decided to go ahead and go for it and do my next challenge. First side of Everest, right there. This is amazing. I'll show you where I am right now. We're on the top of the world. The physical preparation, I had a little bit of help because I'd done Kilimanjaro. So I knew that I would have to carve out time because I was still working and running a business. But I knew that if I really wanted it, then I was going to have to carve out time. So before I would go to work, or when I was in hotels, or when I was back home, I created my own home gym. And I would 2.5 hours a day, I'd throw that freaking pack on my back and I would get on the bike. I'd do HIIT training. I did get sponsored by a great company in New York that helped me with the altitude training, so I had the mask. And then after a while, I would sleep in the altitude tent to see if it made a difference. So I had a guest room with this tent. That preparation was daily. I did it 6 days a week and I didn't let up. And it really helped me get into the mindset every day when I would get fearful of, oh my gosh, I've bitten off more than I could chew. And that really helped me to say, okay, I've laid this foundation. So when I'm at the base of the mountain, I'm ready. I've put in the work. I've done all I can. I'm here, and let the chips fall where they may.
What are you most looking forward to?
I'm excited to actually put my feet on the ground and start walking and start seeing the nature around us and actually living what I've been fantasizing about since I was probably 13. Well, by the time I was finished with Kilimanjaro, I was so euphoric about the situation. Everything was so foreign to me. I never thought I would do something like that. The feeling, I just wanted to bottle it up and give to my friends that were struggling or unsure or saying, I've reached the top of my career, or I can't do this, or I'm stuck in a bad relationship, whatever it was. And I'm like, ooh, if I could just give you what I just got, you would be a changed person. You would never say that again. Some friends said, wow, I wish I could do something like that. I said, well, you can if you want to come with me on the next trip.
What made you decide to climb Mount Everest Base Camp?
Heather. No. I was just at a time in my life where I needed something new and different and scary and a perspective changer. And when the opportunity came, it was like, yeah, why not? Why not now?
The idea of going to the Himalayan Mountains was like unbelievably amazing opportunity that I couldn't believe actually presented itself to me in my life.
I was in the thick of being a busy working parent. I was resentful of people noticing giant growth spurts with both my children. I wanted my own growth spurt. And when I got the invitation to go to Basecamp Everest, I just felt like it was something I had to say yes to.
Where are we right now?
Gosh, we are in the town of
Laboche.
We're 6 kilometers away from Basecamp Everest. But it's about 6 hours. We're gonna get up bright and early, have about a 12-hour day tomorrow, and it's gonna be amazing. We're 1 sleep away from our destination, the top.
You know, I was at a big turning point in my life, and my kids are grown, and started thinking about, doing something a little different and more challenging myself.
It's one of those things where I've done Kilimanjaro, and I know it was on something that was on my husband's bucket list, so I knew that we just had to do it.
I was involved in the preparation stage for these ladies to make their trek. When I first started working with this group, it was towards the beginning of my consultant practice in CBD education and hemp education. And I was so grateful for the opportunity to take something that I know and offer some practical solutions and advice to improve upon their journey. And so it was very gratifying to know after the fact that, in fact, some of these products that I shared with them and some of the tools that I shared with them were instrumental in helping them get through some of the tougher parts of the climb.
I'm Juhi Singh, and I have a master's degree in Chinese medicine. I decided to create a center because I felt that there's a lot of runaround in the medical industry. Doctors are not communicating with each other, and I wanted the best professionals to be under one roof so that it became a collaborative and very personalized effort. And what's brilliant about it is that we are all working in conjunction with each other, so there's no miscommunication. There's always communication between the patient and their doctors, their caregivers, and they're walking out feeling empowered and educated and knowing that they can take their own life into their hands. And to me, I think that that's probably the best gift I can give. Be in the moment. You will not have this experience with this group of women again, ever, right? Leave the luggage at the door. When you are there, you are there. Everything is about perspective, everything. So let this climb be the journey to let go and figure out, who are you? What makes you happy?
Number one is you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to say, I'm scared too, but I'm doing it anyway. Come with me, we'll help each other out when we stumble.
We're all about overcoming fears, getting out of your comfort zone. I'm terrified of heights. I'm going across a swinging bridge on the way to Everest Base Camp. Wish me luck. I'm stepping into my fear and rising instead of running.
What are you going to tell yourself as you're going across the bridge?
God is great, and I'm good.
You got this.
The big thing with me was a couple people knew that I'm terrified of heights. What am I doing climbing a mountain? This is what hiking on cliffs, over swinging bridges with the wind blowing hard, past yaks and donkeys, and then over cliffs again. Then it rained. Half the day it was thunder and lightning. We didn't have any shelter. We kept climbing. Pranoy helped me when I got nervous and scared. God bless him. We're soaking wet. It's freezing. It's snowing up here. It hailed. The wind blew. I don't know what else could have been thrown at us, but we're here. So, Namche Bazaar. They stepped up and were there for me when I needed that. And I was willing to say, I'm not too proud. I'm terrified of heights. Yet I'm stepping into this fearful position and I'm going to conquer this. But you've got to be willing to let someone help you there. So I think it's about sisterhood. Obviously, there were guys on the trip. They helped as well. But it's really having compassion. Everyone is basically vulnerable and standing naked with all of their fears and their flaws at the beginning of the trip. Once the women realize, and it very quickly this happens, because you're put into situations, nothing is normal. Nothing is your go-to retreat. And you can't sit and say, I'll sit this one out. No, get up and go, right? So It takes about 24 to 48 hours for everyone kind of to trust each other when you don't know each other in a new place. And then you do lock arms once you've gone through something scary or really, really challenging. If you're climbing over something that like, oh yeah, there's a cliff and I could really fall and we could all die right now. Who's got my back? Okay, that gets real fast. And by the time you're done at the end of the day, you're all patting each other on the back, giving hugs and high fives, saying, do you know what we just did today? Like, this is awesome. And so it kind of happens naturally, and everybody gets closer and closer.
So I think also in preparing for this was not only like kind of the normal emotions, but I had been diagnosed with breast cancer. I had already committed to the trip and then got that call that every woman hates, you know, hey, you got to come back in. We see something on the mammogram we don't like. I went through the whole lumpectomy and they didn't get it all, so they were going to have to do, you know, more surgery. You know, part of me was like, I got to go do this because I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'm going to die. I don't know if I'm going to need chemo and then be physically, you know, knocked down for a long time. And I really want to go do this. And the whole medical staff shifted the schedule to get me in and to, you know, try to get me to a point where it was like, no, go. You got to go do this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And it also motivated me while we were going because it made me want to just absorb everything that was happening. And the people we met, the guide, Pranoy, and seeing how calm the Nepalese people are and how they approach life in this harmony and unity, and it just alleviated all the fears. It was probably the best thing that I could have done at the time, even though it added to a whole lot of legitimate excuses why I should cancel. And I'm just really glad that I didn't.
This has just been a magical experience so far. The beauty of the surroundings, the peacefulness, and the culture. It's been so powerful. It's really hard to put it in words. But looking forward to more magic and more challenges to come.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. You know, you get up day after day, get your gear, get all your, you know, your warm clothes on, you freeze to death at night, and nobody else understands what you have gone through. And they do, they get it. And, you know, then you have the stories to tell and you can laugh in hindsight about a lot of things. And, because, you know, we had a few hiccups on the trip, but you just have to roll with it. And I think the bonding from those shared experiences it's just, you can't replicate that with anything else other than an experience like this.
The minute I landed in Kathmandu, on my way from the airport, literally getting greeted with flowers around my neck and driving in these ridiculous traffic patterns with animals and motorcycles and people who didn't look like people I've seen before. And from that very journey on the way from the airport to the hotel, I knew I was stepping into something that was amazing. I had never been to that part of the world, and it literally seemed like something out of a Broadway play or a movie, magnificent. And the thing is, on the journey, spring had come to the mountain. So what we saw on the way up looked totally different on the way back because things had blossomed. So I think that's the other thing, is seeing the seasons happen while we were on trek really was kind of what was happening to me. I think I went on it feeling like I was in one season of life, and I came back having changed.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about people. I think throughout life we continue to learn about what really matters. And the culture of the Nepalese people really struck me. There were things about them that I guess just really I reflected on a lot and I brought forward in my life, and I am now in a much better place in my life and have made decisions to support the life I want to live. And I believe that trip absolutely did offer me some changes that enabled me to move forward and make the changes I needed to make.
Now during my day-to-day, really taking the moments to step back and be more observant of things and people, have more gratitude for the littlest things, and help and share with others. Just stopping and smelling the roses, literally.
This is a prayer scarf. You can hike up to the highest and the largest monastery in the Himalayas. This is what I've dreamed of since I was 13. And I had a whole deja vu moment where a whole scene with a monk that was unusual happened in this monastery that was not supposed to happen. Like, it's not usual for tourists to come in and do this. It's the craziest thing, but there were prayer ceremonies and a lot of symbolism and a lot of spiritualism and just things I can't describe. So this is something that I've held very near and dear because it means I came back with a lot of peace. And I thought I had it before I left. So much peace that I said, I'm like a changed person. But I think it was through a series of this, and I just kind of tapped into something next level with myself and spirituality. So this symbolizes harmony and peace. Forget about the confidence, forget about your ego. This symbolizes, like, let's just get back to our core, all the goodness that's within us and why we're meant to be here, and friendship and all good things that I could go on and on. So this is what this symbolizes. And then you have to read the book to hear about the adventures that happen with the other scarves.
I did not get to finish the trip in the sense of making it to the summit because one of my sons had a life-threatening emergency, and this just isn't my time to complete the trek. But I would say my journey was completed.
This is Amy's helicopter coming in right now. Pick her up at the helipad. We're above Namche Bazaar. She's heading out. Catch a helicopter to Lukla. Catch another helicopter to Kathmandu. And hopefully we've got her a flight getting all the way to LA so she can be with her son at UCLA.
When I got on that helicopter to fly down the mountain, I was just filled with a great sense of peace. I knew that this is where I needed to be. 2 helicopters, a couple of airplanes, sleeping in an airport, and then an Uber ride to the hospital. It was a relief to be with him and with my husband. And I think, again, going through the mountain and how spiritual that experience was, it helped prepare me for dealing with that and really focusing on the faith.
This is where Amy took off from the helicopter pad. As you can see, it was an absolutely stunning day for flying for her. Best conditions, low wind, clear visibility all the way to Lukla. So she is in God's hands.
Talk about those Everest moments in life. Everybody's got their own internal Mount Everest, but taking the time for ourselves to get out of ourselves. And that's what that trip really did for me.
So would you recommend this to someone else that was maybe wanting to get out of their comfort zone? What's your impression of the trip? What's it done for you so far?
I would absolutely recommend it to someone because for me, this wasn't even on my list. I was invited to do it and I said yes to it. And I'm surrounded by people who are like-minded. You know, they don't want to be stuck in a rut in their lives. They want to see the rest of the world. They want to expose themselves to things they've never seen before. That's part of the magic of this. You don't know all that's about. You don't know all that's ahead. But most importantly, you take yourself with you and you discover parts of yourself that maybe you haven't had a chance to be in tune with for a while, or you've just been too darn busy to listen to the own voice inside your head.
I think the advice I'd give somebody that's kind of looking for a new perspective in life, you know, that just wants to get unstuck, maybe is the term I would use, or just out of the same routine, is to go for it. The change in perspective was so valuable. And just resetting, I think we can get in this pattern in life where you get up and you do and you redo and it starts to feel a little numb. And for me, this trip was very much of a regrounding and reprioritizing rediscovering myself and what mattered to me. Because I think when you have a career and you have family and you have kids, sometimes you can lose that. And this gave me an opportunity to kind of step back and re-feel myself.
Life is short, take chances, and you'll have amazing rewards.
Oh, absolutely do it. Absolutely. It will change your perspective. And it doesn't have to be to base camp, but do something that you're interested in or is going to challenge you or pushes you a little bit beyond your comfort zone, especially. I just unhesitatingly go for it.
Just do it. Don't think about it. Fear can impede what you're thinking and can keep you from doing so many things. And it's like, just do it for yourself because you'll grow in so many ways.
What has this experience been like? Is it what you thought it was going to be?
It's actually been a lot more. It's really having me reflect on my own spirituality and trying to see, how I can actually incorporate more spirituality into my day.
There are relationships I have with people that I've known a lot longer than these women I met for the first time and spent 3 weeks together with. But the depth of the relationship is totally different because of what we experienced. And I think when you put yourself in a higher place for something that is as noble, I would go to say, as going out on a limb to do something physically so tough, but also so worthwhile, it automatically puts you in this sphere with a relationship of people that you just, it's very hard to find, at lower altitude.
Watching them create the sisterhood and then create bonds that clearly will last a lifetime is something that I admire, and I benefited in that there are several women in this group that I have stayed in touch with, that I've worked with, that have improved my life, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it in any way.
Bonds that happen and the trust that you have in total strangers, you learn real quick that you can trust other people. A lot of these gals now call each other and they say, I need a lawyer, I need a doctor, or I need some advice for this, or I need something for my kids, or whatever it is. And now there's a network that I've built, which is what I set out to do, of women that don't want anything else from each other other than support and friendship. If you picture a whole band of women locking arms around the globe, we're starting to build that, and it's pretty cool.
Final flight home from Dubai back to the States. Very excited to get home, excited about the accomplishments, and we all did it. This has been probably the best day of my entire life, aside from getting married and my kids. Childhood dream come true, and I don't even know what to say. Life-altering trip. It's amazing.